Hey, you guys. How are you? It's Friday. I'm doing so great. Thank you so much for asking. I decided to do another live while I'm still editing this video, still working on it. Because of this Jay-Z thing, it's the story that just will not die. I did a little podcast over on Patreon where I said I am not making a video about Jay-Z. And I had no intentions of sitting down and scripting out a video about Jay-Z. I just felt like there was no way that I was going to do that. But now that we can do lives, I thought that there's enough there for me to go ahead and go live talking about it. So what I'm going to do is go through my trusty notes, and then I'm going to come back and do some live questions. I have some administrative things to do. First of all, I have already picked the winner of the Jackie Ina palette. So y'all can, all the patrons, you can stop inquiring about it. I have not been able to respond to every single message about it because honestly, I really need an assistant. I really need a new assistant. So if you are a qualified person, it can be virtual. If you're a qualified person, I need somebody to do administrative stuff for me for like 10 hours a week, for like $20 an hour. I feel like that's a fair wage. $20 an hour, that's a fair wage. So find a way to contact me if you're interested. Okay. The second thing I wanted to say is, first of all, you can hear me, right? Because I did something new with my microphone. Oh, I'm in my house code again. The second thing I wanted to say is I talk about pop culture, not because it's like the most pressing thing. Like, I understand we're all gonna die soon. You know, the climate is changing. We're all gonna be swept out by tornadoes or hurricanes or just really hot weather. But I do think that pop culture is a great way for us to talk about larger issues and to enter those conversations about big issues in a way that's easily accessible to lots of people. That's why we talk about pop culture over here. And also, I'm just nosy. I'm just nosy. I just like to talk about stuff. All right, so let's talk about this Jay-Z thing. Number one, Jay-Z needs a better publicist. I don't know who is handling it. He needs to get Beyonce's publicist because the way that this NFL thing has been handled is there have been so many unforced errors. It is insane to me. So I was immediately against this Jay-Z partnership with the NFL because it just seemed really, really messy from the start. It seems to me like Jay-Z and Roc Nation deciding to partner with the NFL gives cover for the NFL to ignore the real issue. This is not just about Colin Kaepernick not being signed to a team. It is in part about that, but it is also about the fact that we have this huge multinational corporation. All of the NFL teams together, I researched this, they're worth a little under $100 billion. We have a huge corporation whose owners are primarily white and whose labor force is primarily black. And this corporation has banded together to tell black folks, shut up and play. Like, that is an issue. You have told black folks that we will take your black labor, but we don't want to hear your black politics or your black voices. That is the problem with that. Okay. And it is so apparent in the past. Oh, I'm trying to hold up my notes so I'm not looking down so much. But it is so apparent that the NFL is inherently conservative. It is inherently right wing, and it kowtows to the right wing. And you are always going to get some friction. You know, like I said, there's a lot of black conservatives, not a whole lot of black Republicans, and even black conservatives have a kind of racial consciousness that rebels against Donald Trump being like, saying whatever racist shit. You know what I'm saying? And Jay-Z decided to shuffle on in there and say, no, it's cool, I'm here. That's an issue for me. And now that the NFL has Jay-Z in there and he's sitting Hardy Har next to Roger Goodell, now there is no incentive for them to change their behavior meaningfully. Now there's no incentive for the NFL to make amends for not only what has happened to Colin Kaepernick, but the way that they chose to denigrate and degrade black players who say, I want to use my huge platform to talk about this really pressing issue. We're not going to get any changed behavior or any changed policies from the NFL. You know why? Because now all they have to do is point to Jay-Z and say, there's a black guy. And you know what I have a problem with? I always had a problem with Jay-Z. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. I'm trying not to yell. I'm such a yeller, but if you have a microphone, there's no reason for you to yell. I have to get that through my head. There is, that press conference, the Jay-Z press conference. This is why I'm saying your publicist is fucking you up. Does Jay-Z have some black people on that team? Because he's fucked up. When he was in that press conference, and he said, he tried to couch it and hedge it or whatever, but he said, oh, we're past kneeling. It's time for us to move on. And I'm like, you never knelt. You didn't sacrifice anything. You didn't do anything. In fact, all you did was get on a song and say, tell the NFL, you need me, I don't need you, signaling to us, the black folks who are pro Colin Kaepernick, that you are on our side. But as soon as there was a check in it for you, you said, oh, okay, well, I guess we can figure something out. Oh, and he talked about let's move on, let's do something else, let's do something productive. And then we get the rollout for what the big Rock Nation plan is. The Rock Nation plan is t-shirts, it's Meghan Trainor concerts, it's donations to questionable organizations, and we will get to the organizations later. That does not sound like a solution to me. Oh, and the other thing about the selling merch or whatever, I have a real problem with when big corporations, institutions sell things and say, oh, we're going to sell this thing and give some of the proceeds to a worthwhile cause. Why don't you just give the money? Why should we have to buy in to a thing and then you give a little tiny percentage of that money? Like, that does not make sense to me. As I already said, Jay-Z just got on the track bragging about being worth $1 billion, 100 million. Wait, 1,000 million. Okay. 1,000 million, right? Why don't you just donate the money? Why we gotta pitch in? You know what I'm saying? It's like regular folks are already out here being harassed by the police. We're already out here being subject to all sorts of oppression and alienation and marginalization. Why we gotta chip in? Like, that has always bothered me. And I guess one of the really unfortunate things that this Jay-Z debacle brings up for me is, like, black entertainers get a lot of space to be political ambassadors, cultural ambassadors, fake activists. It's like, oh, let's just get the black person who has a big platform and a whole lot of money, and let's push him out there to the forefront. When I believe firmly that expertise still matters. Work still matters to me. And so Jay-Z is a great businessman, right? You don't make $1 billion on accident. Very strategic. Probably has done a whole bunch of fucked up shit. But that does not mean that you deserve the place to be the black spokesman. When he was up there saying we're past kneeling, who is we? You ain't done nothing. And if the NFL wanted to show a sign of goodwill, okay, so you want to partner with Jay-Z. Okay, fine, right? He has $1 billion. He has Rock Nation. He has Beyonce. But why not also bring in some people who are actually doing work? Why outsource it just for optics to the super rich black man who raps? It bothers me. And you know who also does that a whole bunch? Donald Trump. It is a way to, it's like you're talking down to black folks. You know that we have smart black folks, educated, learned, activist black folks too. Okay? We don't just rap and dance and sing and act. We do other stuff. And not to say, right? But also not to say that famous black people, cultural workers don't have interesting and thoughtful things to say. They do. But they can't be the only person, the only people continually getting a seat at the table. Okay. And it really bothers me. And I just really deeply question why Jay-Z would willingly, well, I know why, money. But it looks real bad for him to step into the role of good black man. Because now we have Jay-Z, the good black man, versus Eric Reed, who's been very outspoken, versus Colin Kaepernick, and they're the irrational, unruly, crazy black men. That's a part that you're playing, and for what? You're undermining those men who've done stuff and risked things and sacrificed things so you can step in and make some more dollars? What? Look, here's the thing with capitalism, right? The thing about capitalism and why I participate in the system of capitalism as we all do, but I don't endorse it. You can never have enough money under capitalism. You know, I've asked myself, why would this man with so much money, so many businesses, rich, famous, white, who has a whole bunch of money, why would you step in just to make some more dollars, just to get some more looks for your entertainment company? It's because you can never have enough money under capitalism. The optics are just really, really bad. And to just set other black folks up like that, it's like, look, when I say Jay-Z is not a man of the people, that doesn't mean that I don't think that Jay-Z doesn't care about black folks, right? This is not like a Kanye, George Bush doesn't care about black people moment. I don't believe that. I believe, because we know that Jay-Z has done lots of good things and donated money and whatever. Oh, you know what I just remembered? I need moderators. If you're interested in for the next live and being a moderator, leave a comment below. Anyways, okay. But back to the subject. That's not that, right? I believe that he's sincere in his efforts to help Trayvon Martin's family and whatever. But I also believe that I believe that Jay-Z's interests converge with those of Roger Goodell and the other NFL owners, in many cases, a lot more often than they converge with the interests of the average poor black man or poor black woman or poor black trans woman. So that's why it is icky when you see Jay-Z sitting up there laughing, looking hella relaxed with Roger Goodell. Because that's a visual reminder of, oh, they're on the same team. You can't be on Roger Goodell's team and be on my team at the same time. Or not even me, right? Because I'm a middle class person. I'm pretty safe. You can't be on Roger Goodell's team and a Freddie Gray's team at the same time. It's not possible. We all think that we are so special and so good that we're going to be able to navigate all these different institutions and dabble in some oppressive shit over here and over here and over here and have that not seep into other parts of our lives. We think that we can compartmentalize it all. You can't. You just can't. I've talked before about Derek Bell and his theory of interest convergence. Yeah, I think that that's what we are experiencing here. And you know what? I think Jay-Z knew that what he was doing was at least marginally effed up. Can you hear? I think those are cicadas. Sorry, I live out where the bugs are really loud. Anyways, I think that Jay-Z knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew it wasn't right because he lied about talking to Colin Kaepernick. If you thought what you were doing was right, why did you lie? If there was no conflict in your mind, if you didn't think that the optics were going to be bad, then why'd you come out and try to get ahead of the story and say that you had already talked it over or let him know? And then Nessa got to come out and say, no, he didn't. And then Colin Kaepernick got to come out and subtweet and shade and say, no, you didn't. And I think Julesy, when talking about this, she made a really good point. A point that I thought was really interesting, in that people are so mad at the other black football players and saying, well, you're still working for the NFL, and why shouldn't Jay-Z partner with the NFL? And like, a really good point is, we don't ask other people in other areas, in other fields, to quit their jobs if they have a disagreement with their employer. If you have a problem with the way that your employer runs a company, we encourage them to unionize and speak out, but we don't say quit, you know? Yeah, and I think that we approach it differently, and I think Julesy said this. She did say this, and it inspired this in me. We do think about rich people differently, and we don't think about I don't know, all the stuff and the sacrifice and the financial burdens that they might be able to take on. So what this has, I'm supposed to not be looking down. Obviously, now that we got the full Rock Nation plan or whatever, this is obviously not about the work. Clearly, it's about the money. And that's fine. You know, look, Jay-Z is a hyper-capitalist. Beyonce is a hyper-capitalist. It's whatever, right? We're all participating in the system. I mean, I think that we could do with a few. It looks bad when we have Beyonce in a track talking about her great-great-grandchildren already being rich, and then Jay-Z out here doing these really shameless money grabs. It's whatever, right? But be a capitalist. But don't bring that social justice rhetoric into it. Don't do that. Social justice is not an aesthetic. Not when we have people out here dying. Not when we have people out here really being jailed, their whole lives being derailed. I don't consider myself to be an activist. I'm not. I'm just not. Not willing to make those sacrifices. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't want to go to jail. I am most afraid in my life of being arrested. Don't want to do it. Against it. I like having stuff. I like being unincarcerated. I like it. But I want to always make sure to give props and credit to the people who have done that work, who are doing the actual sacrificing. I don't want to, I don't want to cock block them. I think is that going to get this video demonetized? Whatever. I want to make sure that we are always, if I get 1 foot in the door, you know who coming with me? Somebody who knows more than me. Somebody who's done more, who sacrificed more. You know who I'm going to cite always? The people who have done the work. That's why I'm saying work still matters. Expertise still matters. I'm not going to come in here, step on your backs to get into something, to grab some money, and then not cite you, not mention you, not bring you. Like, that is shade. That's shady. And you know, I do think that I don't want to be policing where other folks put their money. You know, it's whatever. All I'm saying is, if you just wanted an opportunity to, and you know, Rock Nation also has like a sports division. Okay, fine. If you want to have a good relationship with the NFL so that the NFL players you represent can get better looks or better deals or whatever, it's like, it's not really fine, but whatever. It's whatever. But choose. Okay, you can't serve two masters. You got to choose. And I think that sometimes there is a way to work ethically within a corrupt system. It's rare. We have very few examples of people who are able to consistently ethically work within an unjust system, a fundamentally corrupt system. Very few. That's why I be side eyeing these progressive prosecutors. We'll see. But that ain't the way. Whatever Jay-Z is doing, it's not the way. I wanted to talk about the quote that Colin Kaepernick tweeted. Great subtweets. I love a great subtweet. So let's read it. So this is from Robert Allen's Black Awakening in Capitalist America. It says, in summary, core and the cultural nationalists drape themselves in the mantle of nationalism, but upon examination, it is seen that their programs, far from aiding in the achievement of Black liberation and freedom from exploitation, would instead weld the Black communities more firmly into the structure of American corporate capitalism. Ooh, that's a bar. Okay. This reformist or bourgeois nationalism, through its chosen vehicle of Black capitalism, may line the pockets and boost the social status of the Black middle class and Black intelligentsia, but it will not ease the oppression of the ordinary ghetto dweller. What CORE and the cultural nationalists seek is not an end to oppression, but the transfer of the oppressive apparatus into their own hands. Oh, what bars. Oh my God, I love literature so much, but that was fucking bars. Okay, now let's talk about the donations, right? Because as soon as those donations happened, people were like, well, aren't you guys embarrassed? Aren't you guys embarrassed? Look at all these donations. So I saw people immediately tweeting that they had concerns about one of the organizations that was chosen to get $200,000. So I used to date somebody who lived in Chicago, and he was, I don't know. No, let's not get into it, actually, because this is public. So anyways, I know of so many, sorry, I know of so many radical organizations doing great work in Chicago. The one of them that they chose, it's called Crushers Club. They seem to have done no due diligence on the proprietor of that organization. Her name is Sally Hazelgrove. They gave this organization $200,000. And now Sally has had to come out. She had to delete all kinds of racist tweets, all kinds of problematic shit. And it just is so, because she had said all lives matter, because one of the common practices of this organization is to cut Black boys' dreadlocks off, to cut their locks off. And that was supposed to signify, oh, you want a better life, you want a new life, so I have to cut your fucking hair off? What type of respectability shit is that? And it's so whack, and she knew it was whack. And those pictures that were up on Twitter, I don't know if they're still up on the Twitter page, but of her, the white woman smiling in the camera, filled with glee as she cuts Black kids' hair off. The fuck? Y'all couldn't, I can name 5 off the bat radical organizations. I admire and respect the work of an organization in Chicago called Assata's Daughter. Y'all chose that one. The one where they had tweeted out all lives matter. Okay. Oh, and they're like pro-cop and all that stuff. I wanted to quote, I'm Facebook friends with an organizer. I don't want to say her name because she has not given me permission this was on her Facebook, but I will say that she runs an organization in Chicago that was caught up in a contentious exchange with a very famous person, either earlier this year or last year. But she said representation matters, and it is important for organizations led by Black people and people of color to be empowered and supported. Participants pay attention, and it is dangerous and irresponsible practice for them to not see organizational leadership reflective of them. Organizations led by African Americans do not receive the funding and media support that their white-led colleagues do, and it is problematic. Black philanthropists and impact investors, please consider being more intentional about funding Black-owned and led businesses and nonprofits. If you're from outside of a community, before making a commitment, speak to and poll the community and allow them to tell you who should get the support before making a final decision. Kaepernick has made some investments in Chicago already. It would have been great to see those organizations receive additional support. So basically, what this very well-respected activist organizer who runs a community organization in Chicago is saying is y'all didn't do no research. Y'all didn't do no Google searches. Y'all didn't look through the damn social media. If I apply for a job today, I ain't getting those. I ain't getting no job today. You know why? Sorry, am I yelling? Because they would look through my social media and say, oh, you're a radical leftist. I'm not really, but that's what they would say. But you get $200,000 and nobody looked at your tweets. Okay. I also think that we have to remember, and I think it's really hard for Black folks because we have this fictive kinship thing going on. I believe that that's Michael Dawson's idea of fictive kinship, right? We believe that if a Black person wins, one Black person wins, that we all win. But individual empowerment and embetterment and the enriching of an individual does not mean that that's collective liberation, okay? Just because one person got no money, that don't mean it's trickling down to the rest of us. There is no trickle down liberation. That's not a thing. And I think that because being rich and famous is aspirational, we unduly tie a lot up into the rich, famous Black person, right? And I think I've said before, there's an assumption that if you've made a lot of money, then all of your ideas are great. That if you've made a lot of money doing one thing, that you are an expert in everything. That's not true. Okay, it's just not a thing. And I think that kind of thinking really rears its ugly head when it comes to stuff like this Jay-Z conversation. I also had to, I just really wanted to quickly talk about, there was also a clip going around of Jay-Z in some press conference saying that young Black men, because they don't have fathers in the homes, that makes them oppositional to authority. Come on now. Come on. Look, this is how you know Jay-Z been rich for a long time. Because why would being raised by your mother be the reason why you're opposed to authority and not being witnessed every day in your community to the way that police abuse, batter, harass, assault folks be the reason why you deny their authority? Why does it have to be, first of all, in your home, your mother is the authority figure? Are you saying that you don't respect your mother because she's a woman? Are you saying that the only legitimate authority figures in households is a man? I don't get it. I find that to be so insulting to the women who actually stay and do the work. Look, I already said I don't want to be a parent because it's hard. It looks hard. I don't want to do it. I cannot imagine the difficulties of being the parent who stayed, who sacrificed, who invested, and then you get up here and say, you weren't legitimate, and that's why I say fuck the police. No, we say fuck the police because it is a fundamentally corrupt organization. Okay. I do think that we have to be careful about using our individual feelings to paint a broad brush across the community. And I can just say, as a Black person who grew up around lots of wealthy white folks in suburbs who also had an opposition to authority, I know lots of white boys, white men who grew up in two-parent households, who had everything that you need to have a happy and healthy life, who also said, fuck the police. But you know what? The difference is when they say, fuck the police, they don't die. Okay. So anyways, I do acknowledge that Jay-Z has done some good things, yes. But just because he's done some good things doesn't mean that he deserves to be let off the hook. I went ahead and already assembled some anti-capitalist readings over on Patreon. Shout out to the patrons. If you're interested in more about why I, as we all do, participate in capitalism but don't endorse it, go on over to Patreon, check out my anti-capitalist syllabus. Do I have anything else here? I don't. So now what I'm going to do is go on over to the YouTube and look at some questions and answer some questions. I think I can go to my page, right? And it'll come up. I'm trying this for the first time because I don't want to get so close to the freaking... Ooh, it's weird to see my face. Okay, so like, oh, there's a delay. Sorry. Okay, so ask questions and I will answer them. Oh, what is Patreon? Patreon is it's patreon.com/FORHARRIET. It's where I do all the bonus content, syllabi, podcast, extra videos. I've been slacking for about a week because I just haven't. I really do need a new assistant. I really do. I'm just trying to keep up with all of my stuff. But yeah, how can you say? Statistically speaking, okay, so the question is, how can you say they don't die when there are more white boys killed by the cops? So you know that the United States is like 75-80% white people, right? But statistically speaking, if you are Black, you are much more likely to be killed by a police officer than a white person. So sure, in absolute terms, there are more white people killed by police because we live in a white-ass country. But you are much more likely, if you encounter the police, to engage in a deadly encounter if you're Black. That's facts. Thank you so much. It's funny seeing Diddy and Jay tweeting Black excellence after making most of their money of scamming young Black artists. It is funny. But you know what's so interesting to me is people respect that finesse. We have so many stories of Diddy and Jay getting to where they are by screwing people over, cutting people out of deals, roping young Black artists, hungry artists into bad contracts. But we, and I say we, you know, the universal we respect that they could get over. Interesting. Okay, hi Ashley, I'll make you a mod. Jay-Z is where he is from selling drugs to his people. Yes. Oh, let me hold this up. What suggestions do you have about rejecting this narrative that Black celebrities are viewed as leaders of the Black community by white media? I don't think that that's a thing that Black folks can counter. I think that white folks like familiarity. People in general like familiarity, and white folks have a lot of power, and they're going to go to the people that they see most often, that they're most familiar with and feel most comfortable around. That's how I said that Jay-Z is playing the role of the good Black person, because you could have easily invited Colin in and whatever, you already settled it, but you don't want to be next to the bad Black man. You want to be next to the good Black man, the Black man whose interests align with yours. I'm never answering any questions about my chair, but thank you so much. Yes, and also when white people are killed by the police, there are actually consequences for the officer. I'll say not all the time. There are lots of instances where white people, this is why white people actually do need to be involved. Well, it's in white folks' best interest to be involved in these conversations about police brutality and the fundamentally corrupt nature of our police system, because white folks are hurt by police. They die because of police negligence a lot, and there's often no consequences. But the rare time when you see a police go to jail, or a police officer go to jail or get demoted or be fired, it's much more likely to be a white person. I'm thinking of Justine Diamond. That was a really interesting case. Hello, Montreal. Thoughts on Kelani and YG? My thoughts were, that makes sense. Makes sense. That's all my thoughts were. Um, um, why do you people lose touch with the struggle after they become rich? I think that money is a great motivator. I mean, like I said, I think that once you're on the path to being super, super rich, um, then that's what motivates you, right? I think some people are money motivated and others aren't. And a lot of the people that we praise are primarily money motivated. Do you think Jay-Z really even cares? I think he cares, but not enough to give up anything. Okay? I think there's definitely a limit to the amount that he cares. Yeah. Since Jay-Z has been up to these shenanigans behind the scenes, would you say that Beyonce also plays a part behind the scenes as well? I don't. Okay, this is hard, right? Because on one hand, a woman is not responsible for the actions of her partner. On the other hand, if you sit silently while your partner does some fucked up shit, and y'all are a unit, legally, publicly, y'all be on tour together, he be all up in the videos, then we don't have any choice really but to say it must be okay. She must be cool with it. And I say the same thing about Hillary. But we're not going to get off into any Clinton stuff right now. I don't know anything about what I don't know anything about what Nessa said about the black community. If we want to address Colin, then let's talk about all the players getting on the field and not taking a stand for Cap. What about all the black people who continue to watch but say they for Cap? I don't know what that has to do with this. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what one person enriching himself and stepping into this narrative has to do with black people watching. I really don't. No, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to do that. What do you think is the best case scenario for how this deal with the NFL could go? Could it be positive for the black community? I think that the best case scenario would be for them to actually pick some organizations doing real radical work, primarily headed by black folks. Yes, it does matter if black people are at the head of the organizations that you choose to fund. Yeah, it does matter. You say that you're doing work for black people, you need to empower black people to do that work. So yeah, if you want to give a couple $100,000 to some, I'm partial to black woman-led organizations, I think that would be a great outcome. I don't have a desire to, oh my God. I don't have I really need mods for this freaking chat. I don't have a desire to blame Beyonce for this. I'm just saying that she definitely knows about it. And even if she's not responsible, silence is condoning it. It's funny that at the event where Goodell and Jay were having that meeting, there were no real reporters or journalists, only paid NFL people. Right. I think there were a couple of reporters and a couple of journalists, but very few, and then Charlemagne. And it's like when you invite Charlemagne somewhere, then you know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to dial down the Charlemagne hate. Do you think these pro-black celebrities are genuine? I think they're as genuine as they can be. The end game is to make more money. I agree. If you are interested in working for me, then you need to be, not to be shitty, but be resourceful enough to find out how to contact me. Why do these black celebrities need fundraisers and charities to do great work? Why can't they just give people money, build facilities, do actual concrete work that will have an immediate impact? That's a great question, Keith. People don't want to lose no money. Like, I think a big part of charity is looking good, showing up, posing for the photo op. There was actually a really great podcast from Vox. It's called Future Perfect. And they talked about how billionaires have so much impact on our public policy and these institutions that affect a lot of people via philanthropy. And that's a way to have control. And it's also a way to placate us. Because if we see them donating money and giving to charity and throwing all of that stuff, we're less likely to be like, but you a billionaire. Why don't you cut the check? You know, you a billionaire with yachts and all this stuff. Meanwhile, in the developed world, there are more poor people in the United States than almost any other country in the developed world. It still boggles my mind that people are going into debt that they cannot ever climb out of because of medical expenses. Anyways, right? But anyway, it's kind of a ruse. Okay, I've already talked about Lil Nas X in the last live. Do you think it's possible to live in a non-capitalist or post-capitalist society when it's so embedded in our society? I think that we can try. I think that we can make moves. I think that we can make everybody's lives better by doing what we can to chip away at this system. I don't know, but I believe that a better world is possible, certainly. Do I think that we're ever going to completely eradicate capitalism? I don't know. But I definitely think that better lives are possible. Absolutely. I've already talked about Lil Nas X. Yes, it's possible. Look at Scandinavia. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Scandinavia is a completely socialist society, and they probably wouldn't say it either, but they definitely have a society where people are taken care of. The least we can do is take care of folks. That's the least we can do. We out here talking about this is the greatest country in the world, and we have this many poor people, this many black women dying in childbirth, this many people who have no access to health care. It don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. Okay. Why do you personally think Colin won't directly call out Jay-Z on all of this? Is political correctness bigger than social justice? I think that Colin is doing whatever he can to not be the story. Oh my God. Okay, I can't handle this. Did you share your thoughts about the OWN episodes on Black Women Conversations? I have not. How can I, it's not what I would have done. It's not what I would have produced. I think that having a black man lead conversations on black womanhood, bad look, horrible look. I know that man is the editor-in-chief of the sponsoring publication of those conversations, but it's a bad look, okay? I believe in homosocial spaces. I do. I believe that there are times when it's appropriate for black women to do black women stuff and black men to talk about black men stuff and black trans folks to be, And so, anyways, do you work out? Not really. Um, Somebody gave me money. Love listening to you. Hi, Kelly, and appreciate learning new words. I appreciate your work and intellect. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. Okay. Satanists are not. Okay, what the fuck? They should allow nonprofits purchasing power in team bidding. Okay, no. I will never support the NFL. Shout out to you. Yeah, all of my lives are really badly trolled. I don't know why I'm such a target for trolls. I was watching Julesie's live earlier today and I was like, she don't have no trolls. Why does everybody troll my lives? I don't know, but we got to get some moderators up in here. Um, should Gucci be canceled? Do you mean Gucci as in the fashion brand or Gucci Mane? um, Yeah, being a billionaire means that you have to do everything in your power to stay a billionaire. He did not get it to lose that status. Absolutely. Um, uh, Racism is the tool to keep poor, fighting an enemy that does not exist. If all the black players sat out, they would be quickly replaced. I don't know. I really don't know enough about sports to know what the consequences of a boycott would be, but maybe. Okay. Are there any front runners for the upcoming presidential election that you're excited about? I'm Elizabeth Warren, all the way. Go Warren. um, Somebody, I don't know, I can't pronounce that name, but somebody gave $2 Canadian. Shout out to you. Thoughts about Nicki Minaj retiring? Nicki Minaj ain't retiring. Come on now. We know that Nicki. I'm trying to be nicer about Nicki Minaj because I feel like I'm getting a reputation as a Nicki Minaj hater. I'm going to preface this by saying Nicki is extraordinarily talented. She's a beautiful woman. I think Nicki really does not like the kind of criticism that she gets. I think it really gets to her. And that retirement tweet was fake news. It was fake news. It was an attention grab. That's like, I remember, when you date people and, you storm off and saying, I'm never coming back here again. Don't you talk to me anymore. I'm done. And then you got to come back the next day and say, oh, I was just kidding. You took me seriously? Come on now. I love this. That's what Nicki did. Thoughts on Lana Del Rey? I think Lana Del Rey, aka Elizabeth Grant, makes great music. Love to cry to it, but she fake. Cause I'm gonna say that if you're gonna call me a bitch, then at least do it grammatically correct, okay? I have a lot more respect for you if you call me a bitch and put it in a complete sentence. I'm 30 years old. Do you think Beyonce forgave Jay-Z for cheating because he is so wealthy? I have no idea why she forgave him. But as I've said over and over again, after listening to Esther Perel talk about cheating and how couples can come back and be back and why people cheat, I'm much more open to women who stay. I'm much less judgmental about it. So maybe she just didn't want to have to pick up and start a new life. She's been with Jay-Z since she was a teenager. Maybe she said, oh, I'm in my 30s. I don't want to do nothing new. That's fine. What do I think about the fires in Brazil? I think that they're tragic. Would you consider Jay-Z a class traitor? No. What do you think about the media push for Biden? I think there's a really, really good chance that Joe Biden will be the nominee. And I think that the media is following where public perception is. I mean, look, I still know a lot of black people who are pro Joe Biden. And what black folks do matters. How is Lana Del Rey fake? I mean, I think the persona is the beginning of why she's fake. Since I have this in my hand, I can actually make people moderators. Oh, okay. I'm going to do that. Wow. Do you have an opinion on hypergamy? Why y'all come into everybody's stream and ask them about hypergamy? Why do we always have to talk about that? It's so funny to me. Of course I have opinions on hypergamy. Let me say, how can I say this as succinctly as possible? I think that you are allowed to make whatever requirements for dating and partnership that you want. If you only want to date men that are 6'2", do it. If you only want to date men that make $100,000 a year, do it. I only want to date men who have progressive politics, okay? I ain't dating nobody that I have to explain feminism to. That's my prerogative. Everybody gets to decide. And I think that generally we have a problem with women exercising their ability to choose and the agency that we have. Okay, so I understand that part of the hypergamist, the rhetoric. I get it, right? You deserve whatever you want. You can get it. Like I said in the beauty video, you don't have to be everybody's type to live the life that you want to live and pick who you want to pick. Okay, well, let me not get too personal here. What I'm saying is do it. I have problems with some of the hypergamous language. And I also have problems, after about an hour, I already told y'all I'm allergic to the carpet, so we're about to go. What I'll say is, sometimes it feels a little snake oil salesman-y, meaning it feels like a grift to me sometimes. Look, I'm not going to follow anybody's advice if they have not shown to me that advice works. If the advice that you're giving out if I can't see it, if it is not tangible in your life, if you can't provide me with some receipts that the advice that you're giving works in a real way, then I can't follow it. And I just feel like when it comes to the hypergamy conversation, I do see a lot of conversations. I see very few receipts. And that bothers me. And I think that Black women in particular are really susceptible to folks giving out this advice and doing the empowerment stuff with no, I like evidence. I am that way. I'm a right brain and a left brain kind of person. I'm creative and touchy-feely, but I also I want to see the receipts. What did Whitney say? And so if I just saw a few more receipts, I feel like I would be more open to it. And I'll also just say that, I know a lot of high-earning, high-achieving, super-credentialed Black women. I was born to a high-earning, super-credentialed, super high-achieving Black woman, just by virtue of the networks that I've had access to and my friend groups and I don't know, the accident of my birth. I just see it a lot. Some of the stuff that people be saying, I'm like, I ain't never seen no upper middle class or even rich Black woman say some of that stuff. I ain't never seen it. I've never seen them talk about this stuff that way. I've never seen it. So it's just a little weird to me that when I happen to be in those circles or having conversations with people who have a lot of stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff, okay? I have a little bit of stuff, right? I'm talking with people with a lot more than me. But they don't be talking about that stuff. So I'm like, where are you getting this from? That's what I'm thinking. I think that there is a certain way that people speak when they aspire to something that's different from how folks speak when they are actually that thing. And that's, that's primarily my problem with the hypergamist. But if you only want to date rich men, do it. If you say you got to have a job if you want to get with me, girl, you better get to work. That's fine. I already have talked about Jay-Z, Tarika. So you're probably about an hour late. So go ahead and rewind this live and you'll hear me going off about Jay-Z probably for about 25 minutes. Yeah, so this is about hypergamy. I hate how the movement is so focused on black women contorting themselves for the male gaze. Look, I don't think that is as useful as some other people seem to think it is. But if you want to contort yourself for the male gaze, if it makes you feel good, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. We all don't have to do the same stuff. Whatever. I don't think that that's gonna get you the results that you want. I've seen no. There's no reason for me to believe that that's gonna get you the results that you want. But if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Okay. Hypergamy is about dating men at their level and higher and seeking providers and wealth. You guys, look, I understand. I think that one of the disconnects for me, God, why am I talking about this? One of the disconnects for me is that the actual definition of hypergamy is different from what a lot of the hypergamists are talking about. So dating somebody who has as much as you is not hypergamy. That's not hypergamy. So there's sociologists talk about this concept called assortative mating. And that idea is most of us, the vast majority of us, are going to partner people who are in the same social class as we are. It's just by virtue of the spaces that you have access to, where you spend your free time, that's it, right? That's not hypergamy. Hypergamy is dating somebody of a higher social class. And in order to do that, you have to have access to that social class. So I think that one of the reasons why there's this disconnect is because maybe we're just talking about different stuff. You want to date, you make $100,000 and you want to date somebody or marry somebody who makes $100,000. That's fine. Who's going to question that? That's not hypergamy though. That's not what it is. Am I going to go see Hustlers? Probably not. I have said before that I'm a pretentious moviegoer. Why am I Warren over Bernie? I like preparedness. I do. I like Warren. I like her personality, but I also like her plans. I like what she has to say about all kinds of stuff. I think that Warren was way ahead of the curve. Well, I don't think. Warren was, okay, it's time for me to go. Warren was way ahead of the curve on a lot of the economic stuff. I love her ideas about eliminating college debt. I love her ideas about transforming our medical system so that it can help people. I don't know. I just like her. And I think that she is much more intersectional. Yeah, her policies are just much more thoughtful about race and gender. I just like her. I just like her. I know, I got trapped in the fucking hypergamy discussion again. I'm never talking about this ever again. It's a fucking trap. If the point is to date to get ahead socioeconomically, that would imply you are of a different socioeconomic class, yes? I don't understand what that means. Najee, it's time for you to go. I'm sorry. It's time. You are the one who called me a bitch in a sentence that was poorly constructed, okay? get your insults grammatically correct. And I know that is, I'm sorry, that's elitist. I shouldn't say that, but you've got to go. It's time. Okay. I don't support Kamala. Oh, I have a whole thing about why I don't support Kamala Harris, because she's a what? A cop. Okay. Okay. Lower pergamy, it's hypogamy, would be dating somebody of a lower social class. Okay. I'm adding people as moderators right now. I think, look, Kamala Harris is super likable. She's really good on the stage. I think Elizabeth Warren is very likable. She's good on the stage. I think Bernie is like a crotchety old man. But look, I will give Bernie credit where it's due. We are talking about a lot of things because of Bernie Sanders, because he had the balls to talk about Medicare for all, because he had the ball to say, oh, this capitalism thing, this vulture capitalism is not working. Give him his credit, right? He's still not my candidate. Okay, I'm making people mods. I have 2 videos on Kamala Harris. You should go watch them. I will, if I can think of an interesting way to talk about thin privilege, I will do it. Elizabeth Warren is anti-man. I don't think that that's true. Hi, Kim. I'm back dating again after 2 years. So many black men are polyamorous. What's your opinion on this? I think black men have been polyamorous for a long time. They're just, straight black men have been polyamorous for a long time. They're just putting a name to it now. Look, I think that honesty is important. Openness is important. So if you want to be polyamorous and you have those conversations and you're willing to do the work to do that, great. I don't have a problem with people doing alternative relationship models. I don't think it would work for me. Dating one person is a lot of work for me. Almost too much work. I'm not going to talk about my dating life, but yeah. But if that's what you want to do, you should do it. Okay. Thank you, Dash. I appreciate you. Do you watch Cat Black? Occasionally. I love what she's doing. I think that she has really interesting takes on lots of different things. I love that Cat Black called out how white LeftTube is. Occasionally people will say, oh, are you a part of LeftTube? Are you a part of LeftTube? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, I'm not, am I bred to? I don't think so. Because it just seems like, do I really fit in with all those white folks? Like, I don't know. Kim, have you been keeping up with the racism and drama in the YouTube beauty community? You got to be a little bit more specific than that. Because I do keep up with drama. But in my opinion, Democrats only care about immigration but don't care about black people. They just want the black vote with no return. I think it is imperative that black folks get our needs addressed. Absolutely. Oh, we've been doing this for over an hour, 63 minutes? Oh, okay. We're going to wrap it up. Did you watch any of the climate change town halls? I honestly am pretty disconnected from a lot of the day-to-day political news because I just find it to be very frustrating. So as long as my candidate doesn't come out saying no dumb shit, I'm cool. Ooh. Okay. The thing is, the man better be able to afford it. Too many men want this and end up with 10 kids they can't support. Yeah, you're talking about, Goddess, you're talking about polyamory. That's the thing, right? I don't think that, look, money does matter in relationships, you know? So that's why I'm like, if you want to have an income threshold for who you want to date, that's fine. Because I do, okay? Money matters in relationships. And I do think that we need to be conscientious of the fact that, particularly when you're raising children, money does matter. So if you want to be polyamorous or whatever, that's fine. But having a lot of kids you can't support, kids you can't see, that's when I get like, ugh, I don't like it. I don't know what the ContraPoints controversy is, but I love ContraPoints. What is the possibility of there being a dark-skinned Billie Eilish type alternative female singer? This will be my last one. I think, I don't know. I think anything is possible, right? Because I'm sure that at one point somebody would have said, who thought there could have been a Lizzo? But there is something particular about what Billie Eilish is doing. And she's like at an interesting point culturally. She's very traditionally attractive. Billie, without the colored hair and all of that, blonde hair, blue eyes, thin, but it is a very attractive gimmick to the mainstream that, despite the fact that she is very traditionally attractive, I can't breathe, that she chooses to comport herself in the way that she does. I gotta go. I can't even answer this question. I can't breathe. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you wanted to hear my thoughts about Jay-Z, that is at the very beginning of this video. Go ahead and rewind. I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, I have to cut it off. Bye.